Hello, my name is Dragos Montano. I am Assistant Director Safety and Flight Operations for IATA Europe, and I would like to thank EASA for inviting us to present in the workshop on the digitalization of the European aviation industry. So, why do we need digitalization? As you can imagine, the topic of digitalization is very important to our airline members. Why would that be? Well, we all live in a digital world. In the past few years, our planet has become more digital than analog. We all, in our daily lives, deal much less with paper than we dealt several years ago. We use less and less paper money, and our money are being spent digitally through an app on the phone. So digitalization is not specific to aviation or particular to aviation. We can only ask ourselves, was civil aviation late or too late to the digital age? This is possible, especially since, in fact, aviation has always been a documentation intensive industry, and with good reasons for that. Manuals and records were kept in paper formats for specific time frames even longer than the life of a product. Certificates, licenses, flight preparation documents, technical logs are all moving into the digital version with some obstacles. In the next slides, I will present the needs of the industry as well as the challenges ahead. But the way ahead is clear. There will be no coming back to paper. Digital is the only way ahead. So what are the needs of the industry? We expect to have regulatory authorities accept all processes that eliminate the use of paper and other material means of documentation and record keeping, and allow remote approvals of various activities. Of course, we mean the processes dealing with safe operations. We expect the recognition of foreign issue documentation like certificates, licenses, documents, and other records, according to international standards. The industry and regulators should participate and drive the development of criteria and standards for global acceptance. The standards generated should be performance-based, not hampering technological processes. If we go into a prescriptive area, simply the technology will evolve faster than we are able to publish standards and follow these standards. We need to ensure that electronic backup systems are available and cyber attacks, power failures will not be able to disrupt operations and cause loss of life and assets. Some examples of processes on these slides, for instance, documentation acceptance approval related to aircraft certification, exchanges between all industry stakeholders. Some examples are aircraft certificates, electronic non-paper AOC, air operator certificates on board of the aircraft, the registration certificates, and so many other certificates and paper documentation, insurance certificates that we need still to carry on board of the aircraft. Documentation acceptance approvals related to aircraft maintenance processes like sign-offs, record keeping. That is not only for the EASA jurisdiction, but also originated outside the EASA, remote inspections, etc. Documentation acceptance and approval relating to aircraft transfers between EASA member states and from to non-EASA member states. Today, aircraft personnel, repair stations, and other certificates and licenses can be provided in electronic forms and formats. Recognition's acceptance of digital certificates and licenses as having the power of an original true certified copy whenever such documents are required to be presented to the operator, to the regulator. This is a very important process to have. So what are the most important issues regarding digitalization? Well, there are a few, and I have some of them, I have written them on this slide. Cybersecurity, data protection is extremely important, as we all realize. Big smart data and advanced analytics, connectivity and remote access, digitalization of all paper flows that we have in operation today, cloud computing, so that means efficient use of distributed resources, mobile applications, mobile integration of processes and services, data ownership issues, access control, transmissions use, data sharing and exchange, artificial intelligence and machine learning, blockchain, solutions that offer immutability, efficient transaction history, traceability, and search capability, digital thread and digital twin. Interoperability and data transfer harmonizations are critical to avoid accidents, misunderstandings, and inefficiencies. What are the industry activities on the side of digital aircraft operations? So there is a roadmap already existing of processes that need to be digitalized. IATA has been quite active in this area, and by accessing this link on our website, you can get a lot of information on digital aircraft operations activities. Most of the airlines have scanned and electronically stored aircraft records. Most airlines are using today EFBs for pilot and mobile tools for mechanics, flight attendants, and others. Maintenance information systems have been installed in almost all airlines. Airlines have been creating data and analytics teams to integrate various data sources within the airline. Some examples from inside IATA, for instance, in IOSA, we have developed a data warehouse, which is able to mine all audit program relevant data, which is able to expand to new data sources. This data warehouse enables IATA to perform data analysis and to gain important insights into auditor performance, audit results, and program operations. Some more on the industry standards, for instance, some of them coordinated by IATA. An example will be a scheduled maintenance data standard. This is intended to define industry standards for electronic data exchange between OEMs, operators, and regulators, using the S1000D for all scheduled maintenance requirements, including maintenance programs, ICAs. This specification proposal was developed by the participating group, which involved OEMs, airlines, MRO, standard setting organization, and is aligned with the S1000D steering committee to ATA e-business direct involvement. The document will be circulated later this year and with other industry stakeholders, and also will be socialized, so interfaced, to get buy-ins from regulators and other stakeholders. Another example would be the ATA e-business coordination. For instance, ATA specification 2400, revision 2021-1 issued in April this year, allowable configuration data exchange standard. This updates on the definition of the file structure and format for the exchange of allowable configuration data for software and hardware parts and for modifications. This specification is intended to be used by aircraft operators, airframe original equipment manufacturers, component OEMs, aftermarket OEMs, maintenance and repair organization, and maintenance information systems software providers. Another example from the ATA world, the ATA Spec 2000, Chapter 18, Electronic Work Package. This document addresses the data exchange between the airline maintenance planning system and a separate maintenance execution system for alignment, interoperability regarding task card management systems, maintenance program compliance systems, maintenance record archive systems, and logbook systems. Work is ongoing to finalize the revision this document on the version 1.0 and update to version 2.0. The specifications for work package detailed transactions, modifications, and reporting during its execution. Also, the digital exchange of to-work and work data with recordings of findings, measurements, and digital signatures. An area and the work and the cooperation with SAE in the level of the group G31, Electronic Transactions for Aerospace Committee. This was founded in the fourth quarter of 2018 to develop standards for sharing electronic data and transactions within the aerospace and space transportation ecosystems, airborne, ground, manned, and unmanned, for concept to disposal. The main present focus is on blockchain applicability to aviation specifics. It has already published 4 standards with other in work. Another area which is extremely important to the industry is clearly the electronic signatures. So from the industry side, there's been a lot of activity on developing standards for electronic signatures. So some examples from the ATA world first. So the ATA specification 42, revision 2020-1, Aviation Industry Standards for Digital Information Security. This is elaborating in detail on the digital signature creation, the validation, the implementation, including the minimum set of rules for application and management of digital signatures for the aerospace community. Another example will be IATA Specification 2000, Chapter 16, Revision 2019-1, Electronic Product and Part Regulatory Documentation. This provides a standardized set of data formats and implementation guidelines for the electronic exchange of regulatory documentation for aircraft products and parts. An example that was already mentioned, the SAEG 31 Electronic Translations for Aerospace Committee started developing a series of aviation information reports, aviation recommended practices, and aviation standards, addressing inter alia how the use of blockchain technology could impact the ways of ensuring the authentication, data integrity, and non-repudiation traceability objectives to a digital signature system. The maintenance information systems providers, they are strongly engaged in fully supporting the use of the e-signatures by airlines and MROs. So as you can see, there is a lot of activities on the industry side regarding electronic signatures. To conclude, on a topic which is extremely vast and extremely complex, there are a lot of industry developments. The technology is available, and we can see it's developing at an extremely high pace. The standards that we are developing need to be performance-based. We cannot go into prescriptive standards and wait for years to publish a standard, since in fact the technology is moving very fast. So we need to work in fact hand in hand with the regulators and with all the stakeholders to make sure that the digitalization is moving at the right pace and trying to keep up with the developing technologies. Of course, in the end and at all steps, we need the regulatory support for the global acceptance of digital records, recognition, and acceptance of electronic signatures. I hope to this short presentation I was able to give you a little bit of light on what the industry is doing, and I would like to thank again to EASA for allowing IATA to participate and contribute to this workshop. Thank you very much. For any questions, do not hesitate to contact myself, to contact IATA, and we will be very glad to continue supporting and providing you the information on our programs and our initiatives. Thank you very much.